Right, guys, welcome to another podcast, episode 2 of the Three Boyos. We're with myself, Dale, and don't forget Nore. We're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to get Dale talking about the Man City game versus Burnley, and then we're going to go into the Arsenal preview. So, Dale, talk to me about the Man City game.
So Man City, I think with their formation, it was a bit of a change to how we usually have seen it in the previous season. Alvarez is kind of out of position to what he usually is with a number two in terms of striking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he's in like a CAM position, which we don't usually see from him.
Yeah.
It was more of an attacking position in the World Cup when he played for Argentina. But no, it's a bit of a change, and he's more, I'd say, put at the back front rather than the front line of attack. Um, so yeah, it's kind of not his position in a way. I found yesterday that he didn't have many chances on goal. He
Mm.
wasn't really up there with Haaland doing much. Even though he assisted once, he did assist one of the goals.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that he should be up there scoring goals as he is a striker, not a CAM position.
Mm.
Um, I think with the team selection as well, of course, with my fancy football, I did choose Cancelo, but he didn't play yesterday, which was quite unusual because Cancelo is usually a number one centre back for Man City, and no, I just think team selection was a bit different to what I usually see.
Mm.
Um,
Well, I can probably cover the Cancelo thing. Is rumors of about him now going to um
Barcelona.
yes, Barcelona. So that's probably the reason why he wasn't in the squad and not even selected on the bench as well. Um, and I think there's a lot of issues with that player. But hey, we'll get into that a bit later on. But yeah, what do you reckon of Burnley then, Dale? So in terms of the way they played, I was quite impressed with their pressing. Very impressed with the pressing, very organised. But also, their back four/5 did not look great at all. Really, really did not look great. It didn't look stable. Personally, didn't very looked very unorganised as well. But then again,
What?
is that just Man City who
Oh,
are just
I don't.
making him look like that?
I suppose you can't really say much on that if it's just the beginning of the season yet. I mean, they were playing against like Man City, like the league champions. They're going to no, I can't believe I said that as well. But yeah, they're playing against like the world's best players. You've got De Bruyne, you've got Haaland, you've got Silva, you've got you know potential in that team where
Mm-hmm.
these Burnley players are not just going to be on form. The defense in the team is just going to fall apart against Man City, but we'll see against like the likes of Brentford, Sheffield United, Luton Town. We'll probably see a better Burnley than what we saw yesterday, of course, because they'll be playing against teams which
Mm-hmm.
are on average par with them. Um, but I think Burnley on the midfield and the attacking front, I think in the first half, I think they were kind of more all over Man City than Man City were all over them. Even though there were a few goals, I think Burnley were quite a lot up into the Man City half. I found in the first half, but the second
Mm-hmm.
half, I found that Man City were more in controlling. They were more in passing game. But the tempo did kind of slow down after the three goals. I found that it was just trying to ease off and make it as a winning game.
Literally.
But it was very good, structure from Man City. But Burnley, yeah, they were kind of slowing down in the second half. I think in the Premier League, I think Burnley are going to suffer significantly against these top
Mm-hmm.
teams. I think that they will eventually, first game of the season, and they're not doing so well um, against a top team. So if they're playing 37 more games in the season, they're not going to um, potentially get good results, I don't think, unless they're playing against average teams at the bottom of the table.
Yeah,
So they're going to
yeah.
probably be a mid team this year, I think, on that table.
I can see Nori down below absolutely bursting at what seems to comment. What do you want to say, Nori?
Well, yeah, given yesterday's game, just looking at Burnley, I did think they were organised. I did think they were well structured. I did think they held a good shape. I did think that they dug their heels and they stuck in there. And yeah,
Mhm.
okay, he scored, only 3 or so minutes into the game or whatever it was, very early. But to be fair, it was like a brave, kind of gutsy leg out from Haaland to get on the end of that ball that was crossed in, and they went 1-0 up. And then it took them quite a while then. It took Manchester City quite a while for them to eventually get their second. They didn't roll over and get their bellies tickled or anything like that. They put up a decent fight. I don't really get where the whole like disorganized kind of perception has come from off the back of that game. I thought that they were organized, knowing their manager, company as well. The ex-Man City centre-back, legend of a player, smart, strong, intelligent. He had everything. He's got everything on the pitch, and he had everything, got everything off the pitch as well. He wouldn't have put a team out that had that you could kind of describe in those kind of ways as being disorganized and not well put together. I thought they were, and I thought they kind of held their own. Okay, they didn't offer what they maybe should have as far as trying to actually win the game themselves. But yeah, I saw enough there to see Burnley standing their ground and holding their own against some of the better teams. But unfortunately, game one, they're playing the most elite team on the game 3-0. That's the expected, and it wasn't like an early 3-0 in the first half 3-0 blitz. City had, for me, in my opinion. So yeah,
I think Burnley could have.
beat even.
I think that Burnley could have got maybe 1 or 2 goals in that game as well if they wanted to. And I think they did put Man City on the pressure. I think in the first half quite a few times as well. I noticed that the defense of Man City were breaking up.
Clips here and there, and there was a penalty shout for me that definitely should have been given. To me, that was a stonewall penalty. I don't get how the Burnley staff, the coach, the players, they didn't make more of a meal of that. Because I'd be looking at that, to be going checked on VAR, man. It was weird. That game should have gone 1.5.
The reason they're not allowed to do that no more is because they get yellow cards, isn't they? Look, Pep had a yellow card halfway through just for protesting as well. Any sort of protest, like from the bench, will get a yellow card straight away. So they kind of like nullifying it themselves. But for me, VAR should be picking that up. The reason they said that there wasn't a penalty, which I don't agree, he wasn't holding on long enough. So he was holding on, though. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what is an F and what isn't an F? If that's outside the box, that's a free kick. But why isn't it a penalty? It's one of those ones, isn't it? You know what I mean? So
Sometimes
I believe it's a pen.
Sometimes when you look at them, right, and you don't even have any bias, you're just looking at it, and you just naturally feel, pen, penalty there. It was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like that. But,
No.
We beat them anyway. Burnley weren't going to get anything against City anyway, so we move on. The Cyborg gets 2 goals, and we keep it moving.
Yeah, he's an absolute animal, Haaland, and he absolute animal on the pitch. It's ridiculous. Sorry, Dale, what was you saying?
I think with that penalty, I think what they saw is that not just one man was tugging at one man; it was both men tugging at each other on each other's shirts, and they were looking at it and probably thought, okay, they were both kind of pulling at each other. Which way do we give this? Do we give it or do we not?
Wasn't the keeper kind of involved as well in bringing him down, the Burnley striker?
That's the part that I thought might have been the penalty, was when the keeper came flying in and he actually went flying into the player on the floor, and I was kind of like, that should be the penalty right there with the keeper, not when they're tugging at the shirts because they're tugging at each other, but when the keeper came in, he coming in quite quickly and hitting that player. So
hey, Dale, on a Friday night, you know what I mean? Anything can happen. Personally, I believe it is. I believe it is a penalty, personally. But hey, look, welcome to VAR again. To be honest, I kind of enjoyed the preseason with no VAR, but hey, we're not going to get into that. Dale, Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Score predictions. What do you reckon? There you go. There you go. That's all we got to say. But there we go. Score predictions. What do you reckon is going to happen in the game? What do you reckon of Nottingham Forest?
I think probably Nottingham Forest will probably start off quite okay. I think like in the first 20 minutes, but then I think Arsenal will probably dominate most of the game. I think I'm calling 3-0 to Arsenal. on this one, I think.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think, look, we all see Nottingham Forest last season, and arguably they had that Navas or Neves, whatever his name is, in goal. Probably top quality keepers towards the end of the season as well. And let's be honest, now they were still leaking like a sieve, weren't they? So let's be honest, I can't see Arsenal not getting a result, and if they don't get a result, then it's
Hey,
not gonna be great.
right Forest off at your peril, mind, because when it was crunch time and we had to beat them, went to their place, they beat us 1-0.
Well, yeah, the record for them, which I was looking at this morning, is that Nottingham Forest beat you 3 times, you beat them twice, and there's been no draws. So when you're looking at that, it's gonna be an interesting game to watch. I can't wait to watch it. You know what I mean? Hopefully Nottingham beat Arsenal for me personally, but it's doubt it'll happen. You know what I mean? You
Help
never
us out.
know. You never know. You never know. There's been weirder things, right? There's been weirder things. In terms of Arsenal lining up, Dale, what do you reckon the predicted lineup is?
Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and
I would
You
have
can-
Timber, personally.
It has to be Timber because Zinchenko is missing and
He's gone,
Tierney's
is he?
not up to it fitness wise. So yeah, Timber's left back.
okay,
In the
Timber.
midfield, then this is interesting. This will be interesting. Who you have in the midfield, Dale?
So Rice, of course, would be in the midfield.
Rice,
what else is-
baby.
Really? You're forgetting about the best DM one of the best DMs in the league. You saw him in the Community Shield, man. He's an
Partey. Yeah,
You
he
s-
has to be there.
You saw him in the
Thinking-
Community. Well, what did your eyes tell you?
I think Odegaard will play as well. I think Odegaard might play.
And
Look, Thomas Partey for me is the crucial link. He has to play. He's the undroppable.
you know, there's this guy called Thomas Pye, the black guy with the box top. Remember him? When it was like
I know Partey, yeah.
things against Man City, like just last weekend. Remember that guy?
Yeah. But it's of course there's depth as well, isn't there?
Yeah. But that's right. Come on. Let's stop being silly.
First game of the season, Nottingham Forest, you got to make a stamp, haven't you? Especially when you've just seen your potential rivals beat Burnley 3-0. You want that to be nailed on. So you're going to play your song of squad. Personally, then, I would... Look, I'm going to get into this quite deep now. And I know I look at him, you can tell straight away. Trossard has to start on the left for me.
Left.
On the left, yeah. Taking
Where's
out Martinelli.
Oh, behave
Martinelli will start.
yourself, man.
Personally,
Trossard
I
would be
would.
fine.
Trossard's been unbelievable in the pre-season.
Yeah, Trossard can start, but it doesn't have to be at the expense of Martinelli. You know that, right?
But personally, I would. I would keep Saka, Odegaard, and I'd play Havertz to the middle.
Well, why is Havertz guaranteed a spot in place of one of
I
the?
think he'll work well with Saka and Trossard on the wing.
What about
I really
Nketiah?
do. That's who I would play. That's who I would.
You
start
guys,
with.
you don't need to put much more respect on Martinelli's name, man. I don't think you have an idea of who this kid is, man. He's got 15 league.
Martinelli.
He's got 15 league goals and he's only 21.
Yeah, but that was last season,
Martinelli with Trossard for me. I think Martinelli would start.
What's changed?
bro. I think Trossard has had a better pre-season coming into the season. You got to give him a chance, right? So why not give him a chance against Nottingham Forest?
To be fair, it's your lineup, so obviously you're entitled to say it, which is fair enough. But Martinelli does not get dropped. Absolutely no. No, he is one of the nailed-on ones. Him and Saka are our two most electric wingers on the flanks. There's no chance he gets dropped. If
you think from pre-season that Trossard has to start?
Cool, starting down the middle. Havertz can sit bench.
What?
What
Trossard
about
in the
Odegaard in the
middle?
middle?
That's where he played when he first came in.
Nah, Trossard's better off the left.
Would you choose Trossard over Odegaard?
Nah, Odegaard just moves that ball around like
He's
button.
scoring goals,
He's
man.
beautiful.
Odegaard last season.
Utterly
He was
fine.
scoring
in and about
goals.
the place. It's beautiful.
But
I got a lot of respect for Odegaard.
it doesn't have to come at his expense. They don't really play in the same position like that. Anyway, they can, but they don't. You can fit them both in. My opinion.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You-
So you wouldn't play Havertz. You would play
I
Trossard.
wouldn't.
What's your lineup, Ben? Tell us your lineup.
Right, we got Aaron Ramsdale in goals. England's number one. England's future number one. England's should be current number one, but Jordan Pickford, whatever. He must be incriminating photos on him, Pickford, on Southgate, because for love nor money, Ramsdale can't break into that first team lineup for England. But we move. Right back, Tim White, absolute Rolls Royce. You saw him with the Community Shield. Just no business playing how he plays at right back. He's just belong there, but somehow he just looks like as elegant as a swan taking off a river. Yeah. Saliba, there we go. Again, I got to mention that car, the old double R. Smooth, elegant, quick, powerful, everything beautiful. Probably the best young centre back on the planet, or one of the top three. Gabriel next to him as well, big clumsy Brazilian. Not really a favourite of mine at all, but every time I say something bad against him, I get the old pitchforks outside my house and stuff. If you don't like it, go and F off and support them lot down the lane. So yeah,
That's Man United fault coming at you.
No, not really. Why would they? Left back, I'd love to see Zinchenko back. Unbelievable player, honestly, just mind blowing. But he's not available. He hasn't really had a decent preseason or any kind of preseason. So it's going to have to be Timber, the new guy from the Netherlands, Ajax, 40 million. What a player. What a player. Anyway, we move. So that's the back four and the goalkeeper.
You can see why United were interested in him last season. You can see why.
He's unbelievable. I had no idea who he was. Yeah,
mate, I remember when we were getting him, we had some abuse from Arsenal fans when we were going to go in for him, when we were going to sign him. Okay, yeah, we were paying 60, 70 million, but we were going to go in, pay that money and get him and stuff like that. We had some huge abuse. Oh, he's only getting his people from Ajax, blah, 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 blah. I was like, nah, trust me, this kid's a player.
I think
the only thing's his issue is
I think it was
height in the sense of...
I think it was more of a slight against Ten Hag for only having the ability to go and recruit players that he's coached before than it was against Timber's actual quality himself.
But I think there's a reason for that, which you're seeing now, is that he's building people he could trust. The issue with United, we're not going to go into United. We'll deal with that later on in the week. But yeah, that's the reason why. But hey, yeah, Timber, top quality player. I gutted that you got him because I really wanted him at United because I think he'd be a perfect Varane replacement in the future, personally. But then again, you can't have two centre backs that are below 6 foot in the Premier League. Well, that's what they say anyway. Hashtag Jamie Carragher. So in your midfield, Nore.
Midfield, I know there was loads of talk oh, let's sell Partey, let's get someone else. No, Community Shield last Sunday showed the whole world watching. This guy is irreplaceable. Every time he plays, we tick. He's crucial. He's essential. His name never gets brought up alongside the best DMs in the world. Even your man here, when he was named the lineup, when it comes to picking the midfield, the big omission out of it was Thomas Partey, and I'm like, what is he a ghost or something? Is he Mr. Invisible from the Fantastic Four? How come nobody seems to acknowledge this man? I don't get it. I don't understand it. What is it? Just because he doesn't have a flashy name, or he doesn't come from Brazil, or he's not English, or whatever? I don't get it. But anyway, fixture in the lineup, absolute must-cert, irreplaceable Thomas Partey. Footballer. Next to him, obviously, big 100 million Declan Rice, another Rolls Royce. We just got a team of Rolls Royce players, man. Yeah. So it's those two in the little pivot there in that central midfield.
I'm not gonna lie, them two in them central, in that playing the number 6, number 8, swapping between each other. That's a deadly combination, man. Because Partey's not just good at defending; he's good at going forward, man. He can get a goal.
Yeah,
Rice
yeah.
As well.
Smooth, elegant, technical. The only thing I've got with those two is that they don't seem to have built a chemistry between them yet. So it doesn't really look like they have quite got down with the program as to who does what in that too. figure it out. They have to figure it out. They're too good to not be able to.
Look,
Odegaard,
Partey's probably like a 70, 80 million pound player. You got a 100 million player sat next to him. They'll work it out, mate. They've played with multiple different styles of players next to each other. Just take time. You'll probably see it now. 5 games time, you're watching them. You're like, shit, they know what they're doing. Like that's more time they play with each other. They'll click, man. They'll click.
agree
So
that
your front
no,
four.
no doubts about them too. Odegaard, club captain, obviously, little flashy, silky number 10, absolute butter on toast. Just smooth, elegant. Oh, honestly, watching, just being a fan and a supporter of this club and this team is just, it's beautiful, man. I can kick back, I can put the TV on, I can just watch just top draw footballers playing football. I ain't got to put up with long ball football. I ain't got to put up with 6'7" strikers up front. I ain't got to put up with clumsy wardrobe-sized defenders goofing around to the back, chucking goals in like that. Yeah, so our number 10, our captain, he gets in. And then the front three, I think that's a bit more contentious. For me, well, for everyone, obviously, Saka, Bukayo Saka on the right. And just an absolute wonder kid. Always puts in at least a 7 out of 10, if not an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Always the start of the show. I don't know how he does it every time, but I don't care. He's in. On the left, again, another guy who needs more respect on his name. Martinelli, just light and fast. Clinical, looks like a striker, but plays on the left first. That's by the by. This one is the contentious one. It's the number 9 spot right down the middle. Gabriel Jesus, whenever he plays, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Picking up a lot of injuries, and we got to plug that gap. So we signed this big 6'4" gangly German guy who doesn't have a position. He doesn't really score, doesn't really assist, but I guess he makes a nuisance of himself. But I wouldn't even pick him. I'd pick Leandro Trossard right down the middle. Just like when we signed him in January and he played in the false 9 for us and he did absolute bits for us, he would play again. But to be fair, knowing this manager and knowing the team that we're up against, Nottingham Forest, I feel like Havertz might start and Trossard might be benched. It doesn't make sense whatsoever, but this is what we're working with. So, yeah.
I got a feeling Havertz to start, 100%. I think he just wants to get minutes into his legs, and I think he wants to give him that confidence. He's a confidence player, Havertz. You've seen him when he goes away for his international club. Like, he's a different player. He does play really, really well, but then when he comes back to his club, he never seems to have the same confidence, and I don't know what it is. So yeah. You are?
Score.
Yeah.
Score. Surely a score, right? I'm saying 4-1.
4-1 Arsenal?
Come on.
Okay. I was more shocked that they're going to score one, but hey, you know what I mean? Dale, you already said your score prediction. For me, I think it's going to be 3-0 Arsenal, personally. I can't see nothing else. Look, I hate Ramsdale with a passion. I really don't like him, but he can't make a mistake in this game, surely. You know what I mean? The only thing I like about this Nottingham team is obviously the Welsh boy, which is that Johnson on the right wing.
Brennan Johnson.
He can score goals. He can really score goals. He can make trouble. But then again, if he's up against Timber, I hate to break to you, I just think Timber's got too much quality. I really do for him. But we'll see. Because will Arsenal get 2 attacking and they get caught on the counter? That's the only time they will concede, is if the counter attack is good enough from Nottingham Forest, personally. Who's in goal for Nottingham Forest anyway? Because is he your man?
They've just signed some guy from us called Matt Turner. He's like a young American keeper. He's very kind of slim, slender, lightweight. Every time we chucked him in, he didn't really seem up to the standard or to the level, and we got shot of him and sold him on to Forest.
Okay,
great.
Is he like a ball playing keeper? I don't know nothing about this guy. Absolutely nothing.
He's poor with his feet. He doesn't have a great command of the box. He's about as average a goalkeeper as you can get. He's not physically imposing. He doesn't dominate his box. He can't really be trusted with it at his feet either. Honestly, very substandard. And we got big money for him. Boom.
Yeah, good business by Arsenal then in terms of that. So do you reckon that could be a factor on the press from Arsenal?
One time we were playing Man City last season, and De Bruyne was having a moan to the referee about something, and Turner gets up off the bench and he's like, "Come on, dog! Come on, dog! Come on, man!" And everyone just look at him like Americans.
Oh, it's so funny, man. Do you reckon they're still going for Henderson then? Is he good enough to be a first team keeper, or is he a number 2?
Henderson's with you lot, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's obviously talk about them obviously signing him. Do you reckon Henderson is the first choice and that Turner is going to be the number 2, or do you reckon he is their first choice?
I think if Henderson moves, it should be Henderson number 1. Henderson is a significantly better goalkeeper than Matt Turner. Yeah. The end.
Fair. Right, I want to go into more depth now about obviously the City Burnley game. A little bit more points that obviously Nore picked up during the game. I don't know if you want to talk about that. Rico Lewis, what you thought of him. Obviously plays in a very good team, but do you think he was below par yesterday?
I think he's one of their academy, one of their better academy prospects. Obviously, he's seeing minutes, and he's starting the first game of the season, which shows that manager Pep Guardiola has got a lot of confidence in him, because obviously it's a star-studded team full of internationals. So if you're a kid coming through in the Manchester City academy, you have to have something about you to even be sniff of being in and around the first team lineup. He's obviously comfortable on the ball like every other Manchester City player, so that goes without saying. But yesterday, the way that Burnley were kind of pressing and hustling City, the only time they ever seemed to manage to kind of recover it from City and intercept was when Rico Lewis, the young kid, the youngster, got pressured, and he got it nicked off of his toes a couple of times. He was found wanted a little bit. Saw in a corner where there was a little incident, little fracas, him and a Burnley player, and then a couple of them went down on the floor in and around the corner flag, and then one of the Burnley fans took the lighter at his head, but it's lucky he had that big cushy afro to bounce it off, so no harm done there.
Yeah, they need to stamp that out of the game very quickly, man.
Yeah, that's right. What would make you do that? What would make you throw a lighter at someone's head? Someone that you don't know?
It's not just that, mate. Why would you throw anything onto a football pitch? They need to stamp it out quickly, man, because someone's going to get seriously injured one day, and then it'll be too late to make a decision. De Bruyne, the ginger, coming off yet again, very unfit. It looked like he hasn't fully recovered. He didn't really play much pre-season. I was watching obviously the match interview at the beginning, and he was shocked to start himself. Do you know what I mean? Do you reckon this is the lack of preparation throughout the season to be chucked straight in such a high intensity environment, especially against Burnley with their press as well?
I think Kevin De Bruyne has been plagued with injuries for the last couple of seasons now. Every time I look at him and watch him on the pitch, ability wise, his application, he's always the creator. He's always the one driving the team. He's always the one picking out stunning passes, 60 yards, 70 yards, cross diagonals, top corner free kicks, long range, long distance, through balls. He's got the whole lot, the entire weaponry of passing range in his locker. But every time I look at him physically, he always looks like he's carrying a little bit extra, a bit of kind of timber on the midsection, and it's weird for like a top pro and a world-class player to look as heavy-ish as he does. He doesn't look like bloated overweight, but he's definitely not as trim as some of the other City players. And he's always looking a little bit leggy as well, like he's running around with heavy legs. I know he's pushing on now, and I think he's like 31 or 32, which is about the time the professional athlete's decline starts to happen, which is fair enough. But yeah, just another recurrence of a bloody hamstring injury for him. And a hamstring injury for someone who's not really a sprinter or a winger or someone who is reliant on their pace at that age is really worrying. Really worrying. The beginning of the end for KDB. And I hate to say it, man, he's an unbelievable player. One of the best I think I've ever seen. Not I think I've ever seen. I know I've ever seen. To get hauled off in the first half, I think that says everything, doesn't it? The only upside to it, unfortunately, is that a City side without KDB in their team makes City significantly weaker and the rest of the league competition a lot closer to Manchester City. So, as an Arsenal fan, next in line for the title, I'm taking it.
Yeah, but personally, I really liked obviously the look of Foden in the number 10. He's nowhere near as good as De Bruyne, but when he came on, I really like him as a number 10. Really, really like the kid as a number 10.
Oh,
Kovacic, look, when he came on, he's good, but as you said, the quality dropped. I don't know if that was because of Kovacic. Probably not. I think it's just because you just took a world class player out that the quality dropped in the midfield,
mhm.
and I think that made me probably on review reflect that he was the issue when it probably wasn't him. Um, so what do
He's
you
not.
guys think about obviously Foden in the number 10 and obviously Kovacic yourself, Dale?
I think Kovacic had a fairly decent game yesterday when he came on. I think
Mm.
that Foden hasn't really scored much in terms of his potential of goals for quite some time now. He's coming on a little bit of a drought, but I think in time Foden will come back and probably score and assist more goals. Um, Foden is just, of course, class at his age and the caliber that he has in terms of skill and passing and shooting and just supporting the attacking players.
Mm-hmm.
It's just phenomenal. But I think Kovacic, when he gets full into the team, I think there'll be more of attacking display. Into the team, I think there'll be more assists from Kovacic and also some generally some very good goals as well.
Yeah. No? I
Go
know
on.
you're a big fan of Kovacic, New. I know you are.
Well,
What do you reckon of his performance yesterday?
you don't play for Inter Milan. You don't get signed by Inter Milan as a teenager and then get picked up by Real Madrid after, and then get picked up by Chelsea, and then you're winning Champions Leagues and league titles with one lot and then the other and then the other, and then from a Chelsea team that finished 12th or 13th,
Mm-hmm.
then get the league champions to replace one of the best midfielders the league has ever seen. You have to have something about you. I think what people are doing is they're looking at Gundogan, who they've obviously lost to Barcelona, and they're expecting to see the exact same like for like qualities as
Mm-hmm.
him, number 8 shirt. And although he's a very similar player to him, he doesn't have the same impact in the final third as far as scoring goals and being involved in kind of decisive moments, match winning moments. But he's one of the best ball carriers in the league, as in you give him the ball and he'll kind of drive and he'll weave his way through and beat 2 or 3 uh, players, obviously, and then transition the ball to some of the other attackers. There aren't too many in the league better than him. And in the Community Shield, when he played against us, he was one of the best players on the pitch. He fitted in like a cog there, and it looked like he'd been playing there for the last 5 years. Um, just when you keep an eye on him next, just watch him closely and look at what he does do well, and then you'll realize what he is as opposed to
Mm.
what you're expecting to see from him. Just start as a blank slate and just look at what he does. I think you'll be quite surprised at how good he actually is. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah, the stats kind of back up what you say in terms of obviously the best accurate passing in the game. He had 96%
There we go.
accurate passing. Chances created, he had the second most chances created in the game. Bear in mind, he was only on for what, say 18 minutes? I don't know how long Kevin De Bruyne last for, about 20 minutes, wasn't it? Something like that, maybe. So with added time, he was probably on the pitch, but yeah, whatever. In terms of attack, then, he had most successful dribbles, he had the most accurate long balls in the game, and he won 100% of his defensive duels, which, for a number 8, defensive duels is a huge part because you need that support for the number 6. You probably don't with Rodri there, but let's be honest now, it's always a good help, especially in the midfield balance. Um, One final point for me is Alvarez. Do you think that he needs to move away from Man City simply because he is an out and out striker and he's not a number 10, or do you think he needs to stay there because of his development and obviously work? Do you reckon he could push out to the wings instead of playing as the number 10 or this false, I don't even know what he's playing at, weird like false 9 with a number 9 kind of thing, playing in between the lines of Kevin De Bruyne and obviously Haaland? What do you reckon?
I mean, as I said earlier, about Alvarez, he's kind of playing a position at the moment that is a little bit unknown to like a lot of the fans. he's usually up there with next to the striker rather than playing behind. So I think he should be more on the front line rather than being a little bit back behind that attacking force. But as I said, he assisted yesterday, and hopefully assisting and having the influence of goals from Haaland and some of the other players may put him in that position of scoring more goals as well.
Yeah, I think he fits into like two up front. Personally, if it's two up front, he fits perfectly into that. I I I don't think it really works with the way Man City play and he plays, if that makes sense. In terms of, I don't think him sitting behind Haaland, because he's such a beast, because he's so good. I just don't think it will work. Personally, I think he needs to either move out to the wings or he needs to master that number 10, which he's not doing at the moment, personally. But then again, can you ever master the number 10 when you got Kevin De Bruyne sitting behind you, basically playing as a number 10? It's pretty hard. So that's my thoughts.
Listen, Pep is never really going to deviate from his base structure that brought him to the dance. Yeah. So if he sees a quality player in the squad and he'd like to fit him in, he would likely end up shoehorning into one of his fixed positions rather than kind of breaking the chains of the
Pep way.
yeah, exactly. To kind of, because what that'll do is then you'll break one of the chains, and then all of the other links will unravel, and then the whole dynamic of the team will kind of be affected. So maybe for the greater good of the team, it's best that he kind of fits him into this kind of deeper role. Yeah, I was looking at him yesterday, and he's clearly a second striker. Kind of small, nippy, in and around the bigger man type striker. So seeing him in that advanced midfield position, yeah, it doesn't quite sit right with me. But who am I to question? The almighty Pep. Yeah, so I like. But you know what? I think if he's experimenting with him and he's playing him there, and it's looking awkward and uncomfortable, and I think it works to the benefit of the rest of the league and the other title challengers as well. So, but to be fair,
Yeah.
right? If you have a quality footballer and you play him in a position, in an unorthodox position, if he is good enough, he will find ways to get the best out of himself anyway. At the end of the day, you're a top player, you're on a football pitch. When you get the ball, things will just happen for you because you'll make them happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree really, but in terms of I just don't think that number 10 is for him personally. But we'll soon see. Pep is known for making. Sometimes when you look at the formation, he doesn't even play that formation anyway. Sometimes, like he may say he plays a 4-3-3, but 90% of the time he's probably playing a 3-3 whatever. You know what I mean? The defense, like Stones likes coming in into the field. You know what I mean? Stuff like that into the midfield, moving stuff like that. So maybe in the future he may look at fitting him in, as you said, into his system, but tweaking it a little bit just to fit in high quality players like himself.
Do you know when I would play? You know when I would play, and I'd have a manager, and he would be really telling me instructions about where he wants me to play on the pitch. In my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm a striker, I'm a centre forward, I'm going up front, right? And then I would get told every now and again that because we've got so and so playing up front, can you do a job for us on the left? Can you play on the right wing today? Can you play a little bit of a midfield role today? And at first, I found it a bit offensive. Like, well, I don't understand. I'm a striker as well. But then I kind of adopted the mindset and the mentality. Like, hang on a minute. I'm being asked to play football. I know I can play football. Whether it's up front, I should be able to play football on the left or on the right. So I just embraced it then. And then before you know it, I was actually looking forward to being played out of position because I was developing skills that I wasn't really like playing on the right wing and having to kind of front up against the fullback and be more reliant on going down the byline and on the outside.
Yeah.
But when you're on the left wing, you kind of have to, if you're right footed, you have to kind of cut in on your right. And you also have to cover your fullback that's behind you as well. So you start to pick up defensive discipline and game awareness when you're playing in the midfield as well, to be mindful of your touch. Even in like the advanced attacking midfield role, when you receive it, you got to look left, you got to look right, you got to look behind, you got to kind of be prepared to shield it, and you got to look for runs that are going on from the winger side to side. So I think it's good for a young footballer's development to be shifted around. Yeah, so there's pros and cons to these kind of situations as well, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up there now. So that's our preview for the Arsenal game, and obviously our little review of City and obviously Burnley. We will be back tonight with another review on all the games today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with a friend. If you're on Spotify, don't forget to 5-star rate it for us. And guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Much love. Peace.